Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with the Psych series. Yes, Cheri Sotelo, and she's joining us here live once again to talk about all the amazing work that she's doing and how she's helping people worldwide, children, adolescents, adults, you name it, she does it. Let me have her introduce herself. And again, we're going to talk about her building up communities and people and, using integrity is what she does. So welcome back. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm
Thank
doing
you for having me.
fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. Please
Oh,
introduce yourself to our listeners.
so my name is Cheri Sotelo. I'm the founder of the Psych series and the creator of the Faces of Illness. And I have what you would consider a one-stop shop where I go through and I have this lovely mental health wellness clinic, and I have personal and professional development, and I have health and fitness coaching, and I have nutrition and cooking classes, and we have everything from navigating the angst of your medical conditions. And do we want to do yoga today, or do you have a business idea, or do you need to have your whole business analyzed all over again to see where we can increase those profit margins? And you're wanting to consolidate all that time and not see 17 different professionals. Well, guess what? I can do it all in one spot, and we
Oh,
can do it virtually. It's great.
yeah. And you're based out of where specifically, though?
Las Vegas.
Beautiful. But you're working with people all over the world. And the
Mhm.
website, just so we can reach you if you don't mind.
That's www.thepsychseries.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cheri. There's so much to you that I've learned about you and your beautiful family and your dad and um, all that you've done, all these career paths and this journeys you've been on, and you just keep yearning for knowledge, but overall is to help people. What did you want to discuss for today?
Really wanted to bring about this whole notion of how do we increase awareness as we see, especially with this medical tables turning. We're coming across this new component of, well, we see it happening with Medicaid and what's going to be cutting back with our services in the healthcare industry. And this is, very common at this time of year, beginning of the year, ending that first quarter, everybody revamping and looking into what services are going to be available.
Hmm.
Well, the impact that this has not only on community as a whole, but on businesses, because then we're now looking at the businesses that are going to have to pick up the cost and possibly the extended cost of healthcare benefits provided to their employees. We're having, even here in Nevada, a hike in our minimum wage, and we have a two-tier system for those that provide benefits and those that do not provide benefits. Well, the impact on the businesses is tremendous. It's very difficult with where we're at
Hmm.
economically, but what this means in the interim for the 15 to 20 million people that it's going to somehow, I don't know, help, harm, um, put on the back burner for a little bit,
Hmm.
it's going to be tremendous. It's what are they going to do in the interim? And here's where we see again that whole notion of the mental health crisis rise, because
Hmm.
anxiety and depression are a natural state of especially our adult lives.
Yeah.
If you have children, you're naturally going to worry as a parent. How am I going to provide for my child? How am I going to get through these days? What happens when they get sick? Because we always know third week of September and second week of January, there you're coming home with germs.
Yeah.
Well, do we get to rush them out? Or do we not get to rush them out? And what does this mean financially on our household? Do we have to
Yeah.
take time off?
Yeah.
But do we still have jobs? Do we have the snowball effect that really comes into play. And so there's more and more, and I'm seeing this, it's a beautiful thing. More and more clients are coming my way saying, Cheri, it's really hard to stay in
Hmm.
this race of working for other people.
The rat
I
race.
have this idea.
Mm.
Great, let's explore the idea.
Yeah.
I love taking these small, tiny ideas and saying, well, okay, I know you don't have that business background. I know you don't have that accounting background. I know you don't understand necessarily the logistics.
Hmm.
So give me the smallest little part and let's grow it.
Yeah.
With that growth, it's okay, let's talk legal structure and how can I get you to that right person? the basic accounting, I've done it for 25 years. Not a problem. I can walk you through that and even get you the basic trained on QuickBooks. Why? Because I've done it. There's not much that I haven't done. And okay, well, let's take this and turn this into a business plan. Well,
Yeah.
by the way, you're a minority, or you're a
Mhm.
woman, or you have Native American descent, or ancestry. What can we do to help with funding? How is this
Yeah.
going to impact your children?
Yeah.
And then you see this wonderful light up of events
Mhm.
happening
Yeah.
and this creative being coming out, all because of one small shift in, say, healthcare, or one
Yeah.
small shift in minimum wage changes that impacted
Mhm.
that small mom and pop company that was just trying to survive in this ever changing economy.
Yeah.
And so that's really where I'm seeing so many things happen from coast to coast. So it's a sad yet exciting time for these entrepreneurs and for
Yeah.
your just middle of the road individuals ready to do their own thing and not being afraid, because part of it is they're being pushed to. They're
Mhm.
going to be wiped right in with everything that's just rolling along. And
Yeah.
I'm telling them, just stand. The
Mhm.
water is only knee high. It's okay. Let's
Yeah.
go. I got your hand. I won't let you fall. And
Mhm.
remember, every time we take a step back, we didn't lose momentum. It was just so that we can pivot and shift so we're not running into the same old walls again.
Yeah. Feeling stuck. A lot of us get
Uh-huh.
stuck.
Yeah. So that's such a huge marker for this this new time for us.
Mhm.
And with the kids too, as well.
Yeah,
It's
tell me about
so much
the academy.
tragedy.
Tell me with the academies. You were bringing it up last week, and I wasn't sure. Could you
Oh,
explain what you have done for children and what? Yeah, thank
oh,
you.
yes. So with the children in Clark County, so that's the Las Vegas and surrounding area. Las Vegas, for most people, they don't aren't very familiar geographically exactly how large Las Vegas, the city
Mm-hmm.
of Las Vegas is. It's the entire size of the west bank of the Bay Area. So it's 28 miles by 38 miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge, huge city. We are overloaded with schools, and our population, again, primarily is low income, extremely low income. Our poverty rate it was at 11,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
That is, for some individuals, cannot
Mm-hmm.
fathom what $11,000 a year looks like
Yeah.
at all. And so, with that, having a lot of the children having behavioral issues, familial issues, nutrition issues, the families that are just there to survive. I created clinics over the years that were geared specifically to these children that were lacking in certain resources, whether they were from just a lower SES or they had undocumented parents, typically parent or grandparents, and or they were part of a foster care or adoptive system. And I focused heavily in those regions where I could say, hey, you know what? Let's take all of this wonderful insurance money that pays for your services and let's put it all right back in. 85% of everything that I brought in went right back. 15% covered cost of whether it was operating expense and or my support staff. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I operated. Not that obviously not for everybody. That's not a great business model, but it's the model that I utilized for these children. Why? Because how else would they get what they need? And so going through the school district here, taking in what kids were deemed high violent,
Mm-hmm.
um, hopeless, helpless, second chance, third chance, expelled, um, all but have given up on them. They've gone to secondary school. They've gone to the reformed type schools, which is a lockdown facility,
Mm-hmm.
and brought them to my clinic and said, okay, well, give me a couple of weeks with these kids. One, they're not going to scare me. They're just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids do all kinds of things. I expect kids to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Developmentally, they are not there. Can they regurgitate the sentences that adults want to hear about right and wrong? Absolutely. They know how to work that system. That's what they learn. That's what we all learn.
Yeah.
We have to sometimes jog our memory to see what it's like to be a kid again, but they only know what they know based on what they see. So I gave them something different to see 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, and all summer long, because these families couldn't afford to feed them. So I ran summer clinics, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Not because I was getting paid to do that, but because for them, it gave them a model of hope. It gave them a place of safety. It gave them a redirection. It gave them the opportunity to grow and become something that they didn't believe existed. They got to embrace creativity. They would bring me an idea. I empowered them to come to me with ideas. Please let me know what you want, much like I did when I interviewed staff members. I would say, this isn't your end all be all. What is it you want in life? Because I'll help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Cheri, I'd like music. Great. What kind of music? I'm not doing drum sets, but I bought keyboards, ukuleles, guitars, drum pads, 200 drumsticks, and a wrestling mat. That was the closest I was going to get to a drum set. Flutes, clarinets, trumpets with silencers. Oh, well, we want to roller skate. We roller skated or bowled every weekend.
Wow.
Organic food, taught them all how to cook. We farmed. And I made the children farm. There's a beautiful organic farm here in Las Vegas called Vegas Roots. It's a nonprofit organization. And so we had our farming, raised beds, farming plots. And I said, kids, you'll never understand how hard it is to put food on a table till you have to grow it yourself. You don't have jobs. You're not contributing to the household money wise, but you can contribute this way. And so when you guys are complaining, I want this and I want that. Well, you know what? I want you to learn how hard it is to put food on a table. And boy, in 116 degrees, I would bring out those pop-up canopies, but we would be out there. They never appreciated food more than after that summer because it was important. But the sense of pride that comes with it, the sense of accomplishment, and you saw this trickle into everything else. The behaviors came down.
Wow.
The respect for others, the respect for their siblings, the respect
Yeah.
for the respect for their parent or caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous changes. I would go through and say, okay, now that we understand how hard that is, what else do we need to learn? Anger management stuff. I was like, all of you guys are going to be one day those adults. And if you do not get these tempers in control, you're going to be that one that puts that hole in that drywall. But you're going to get kicked out and you need that security deposit back. This is the reality, folks. We know this. We're not going to pretend that this doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I brought in big sheets of drywall. I was the licensed contractor. So I did, yes, just about everything.
Wow.
Something that my dad taught me to do that I also had 2 different companies in is in construction. So
Wow.
fine, you guys want to punch drywall? I took a hammer, put a bunch of holes in drywall. Said, great, you're going to learn how to patch it because you're going to need that money one day. But you're going to understand how hard it is to make that difference when it's the $100 you need to get into that next place or control your temper. Even bringing in the physical fitness. This is that whole concept of the whole person treatment. And fitness was always part of any of my programs. You have to exercise the body. You have to keep that body moving. You have to keep the body oxygenated. But when the children would act out, they're acting out because, not because they're bad kids. There's no bad kids. There's bad choices. But adults, we do that too.
Yeah.
That's fine. But when they would make some of these bad decisions, or when they would say something horrible about themselves, because that's usually where I would get on it. Self-talk is the thing that kills our self-esteem. And I'm that first one that says, you don't talk about yourself like that in front of me. Why? Because I would never say that about you. So let's do some exercise. And they realized and this is me being a fitness professional for longer than they've been alive, they realized the next day with those sore muscles. I said, do you know, it wasn't the exercise as a punishment. It's the day after, the reminder of how much it hurts you to talk bad about yourself. You're reminded with each step you take that ow you're saying, it hurts you. It doesn't hurt anybody else. It hurts you.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to hurt because you don't have to do it. And giving these children the empowerment to know that they are in control of the how they think about themselves and how they speak to themselves. And anybody's light at the end of the tunnel, that's somebody else's light, but they have a flashlight. Just turn it on. They guide their own steps. We can help them, but we have to empower them. And so that's the importance of when I put these clinics together, is giving them every ample opportunity to see life as a whole. It's food, it's career, it's physical exercise, it's relationships, it's your creative spot. For some, it's even their spirituality. We did yoga, we did meditations, we did all of these different things. And you do it all as a whole, because we aren't bits and pieces of one being. We're a whole person. And when they take that on as adults, it's a lot easier to manage the stress of our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
Because look how many of us at this time are going, oh no, this part of my life is falling apart and this part of my life is falling apart. If I just had this much more time, we're only granted the time that we're given.
Yeah.
It's how do we make every minute count?
Yeah.
How do we divide up all of these minutes?
Wow.
We make room for it. It's okay. And so I was recently contacted by a national organization. So I'll leave the name out for right now, but because I'm wrapping up some paperwork with them that is doing a wonderful youth program, an IOP program via telehealth. And I'm like, this is amazing. I haven't worked for anybody in years, but the kids need it. I don't care what it pays. It's not about the money. It's never going to be about the money. These kids need it. You have this program. That is awesome. Here's some vital pieces you're missing in the business component. Because I used to, open up clinics for people, and anybody that came to me with this, I would tell them what their gaps were and policies, procedures. If you need me to rewrite anything, just let me know. Give me a call. But let's just do this, because those are the kids of our future. Those are going to be the ones that maybe one day take care of us while running this country. Never give up on the little ones, even though some of them are pretty tall.
Yeah.
So that's where the kids always make the difference. And I did that for years. So it looks like I've edged my way right back into the kids, but this one's on a national level now. So I'm really excited about this. I'm glad somebody reached out and said, hey, would you be available? I said, I will always make myself available if it's kids. Always.
Wow. Amazing. Just remind everyone how we can reach out to you, Cheri.
Reach out to me, please, on thepsychseries.com or thefaceofillness.com. Also on Instagram at the Psych Series and the Face of Illness. I'd be happy to speak to all of you anytime about these things, whether, again, it's mental health concerns or stress management or career building or personal development, parenting. I'm a certified parenting trainer. All of these wonderful questions, please reach out. I'm always here. Direct email. Also, Cheri, that's Cheri, at thepsychseries.com. Email me directly. I'm happy to help. I always have my phone. Pretty much a 24-hour triage. I'll be right there.
Oh, wow. So helpful, so inspiring. My goodness, this is exciting work that you're doing. I can't wait to hear for who and how and all that when you could talk about it. We still have those 6 minutes left in our show today. Cheri, what else did you want to kind of hone in on for us?
We were able to finally get this book up, and we talked about this last week about the Face of Illness. And so now it is live. The hardback is available. It is up on Amazon now. And so if you just search on Amazon, The Faces of Illness, you'll see this beautiful hardcover. Again, all the proceeds will go directly to funding the next series of wonderful, beautiful individuals. And so volume 2 is going to be called Making Every Minute Count,
Mm-hmm.
and taking submissions for anybody that has high resolution professional shot that wants to be featured in this. Please tell me your story. Tell me what medical condition, what oh, what avenues you went through, what heartaches, what pains, but what tests. This is the compiled
Yeah.
database to help somebody else one day save the hours and hours and hours of agony searching for answers of what test should I get? What avenue should I go? What scan should I ask for?
Mm-hmm.
This compiled data is so vital
Yeah.
to so many people. So please, if anybody you know or you yourself wanted to submit, it'll always be an 8.5 by 11 photo book, photo quality book, and it'll be available for purchase in hardback or paperback through Amazon. Please contact me at thefaceofillness.com. I'd love to see every beautiful face I can possible and just plaster the world with pretty, pretty images of what illness is, not
Mm-hmm.
what we think it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. And by the way, for those that may not know what that is, could you share the experience, how you contacted the celebrity makeup artist? And could you just tell us a little
Oh,
more
yes,
about it?
absolutely. Yes. So last year I had an idea that was brought to my attention about this notion that illness has always been this very dreary, not so pretty thing that we saw kind of on
Mm-hmm.
documentaries about the woe is me and kind of the doom and gloom of what illness is and what chronic
Yeah.
illness is. Well, for more than a decade, I've been teaching chronic
Mm-hmm.
illness classes and functional movement because I myself had gone for 35 years seeking answers to questions that still are unanswered. And even with the Cleveland Clinic and Mayo referral and UCLA referral, still it's not done in this connect the dot fashion. And so one of the things that I found is that as I was receiving more and more clients with medical conditions, the despair simply on their face was daunting enough to change their life. And so I met a fantastic, amazing, wonderful
Mm-hmm.
human being, Christopher Montoya, celebrity hair and makeup artist, on a set for a photo shoot. And when I generated this idea of I would love to just have beautiful photos to show a different face, I
Mm.
reached out via email and said, I don't know if you remember me, but I have this kind of wild idea. Do you think you would be interested in taking people who have different types of chronic
Mm-hmm.
conditions, terminal illness, extremely painful diseases, rare diseases, nothing, that's transmittable or anything, but they're in a lot of pain. And whatever it costs, just let me know. Please do not tell them. But if you're willing to take on this project, I'd really appreciate it. And I got a phone call back and he said, yeah, that sounds amazing. And I just kind of stopped in my tracks and I'm like, okay, is this really happening? Um, oh, okay, that's great. I was in disbelief for like at least a week. I said, okay, well, I guess this is going to happen. And then got a photographer, was searching through photographers, and this is a professional entertainment photographer that does like the Cirque shows, who was also a professional performer for 25 years. And I was like,
Wow.
and somehow this whole thing came together, and it was the most amazing thing I could have ever seen
It's good
when
people doing
yes,
good
when they sat
things.
down.
Ah,
And he said it changed his life. And for me, that was such an impactful piece. It's like, I usually am the person that sits in the back corner. I don't want fame. I don't want fortune. I don't want credit. I want people to feel good and I want people to be helped and to just do everything that they never dreamed possible. And for one night, if it's just even one night, and that picture allowed us to freeze that moment in time forever.
yeah.
And that's what most people don't understand. That's that 1 minute, making that minute count. And so
Beautiful.
the faces of illness for volume after volume, and I hope that legacy lives on forever and it continues on. Whoever picks it up, just somebody, please pick it up well into the years and decades to come.
Oh,
because it's such an important piece.
beautiful. Well, thank you again for being here. Cheri, how can we reach out to you?
Please reach out to me at thefaceofillness.com or thepsychseries.com and on Instagram and Facebook as well at the Psych Series and the Face of Illness.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to get you on Instagram. You have a fantastic day and
You
looking forward to
too.
connecting again. Okay. Thank you for
Okay.
doing what you do. You're such a sweet soul. Pleasure really
Thank
having you here.
you.
And I hope our listeners reach out. Thanks again. Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.